Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for the weekend of September 16th and 17th of 2023. We're already halfway through September. Let's go. We are almost to the autumnal equinox, too. We got about 6, 7 more days left. We're almost there. So, trusting that you guys have had a wonderful week, and hopefully you guys have a wonderful weekend as well. Definitely want to just go over these aspects, these transits, and talk a little bit about what's going on. It's going to be a lot of things happening with the moon, especially as it finishes up in Libra this weekend, and of course, there's going to be a lot of people focusing on this Mercury retrograde, not Mercury retrograde, but Mercury coming out of Mercury retrograde, which happened yesterday, right? Like in the middle of the afternoon. So it's probably going to be a lot of people, kind of feeling that tiny little inch that was kind of given. As you can see at the current moment of me making this, it's only moved 2 minutes forward. Now that 2 minutes can feel like 2 hours. And so there's a positive, I would say there's like a positive aspect to this or a more constructive aspect to this and a more destructive aspect to this. Destructively, let's start with that one. Destructively, you can take that 2 minutes and think that you have all of this space and all of this leeway to enact on some sort of grand plan that you have to change the course of your life forever, right? And you may feel like just like that tiny little bit of space or leeway, you're like, all right, I feel better, I can go do it now. And you just like, but don't jump the gun too much. But constructively, this could sort of be like, okay, you kind of take like that, that deep breath, that it's kind of like that. Okay, not everything is exactly going according to plan. My plans have shifted. I have recalibrated. I don't necessarily need to do anything rash or big or grand right now, but at least I can start to take those tiny steps forward. It's not really a weekend to take massive leaps forward. This is a weekend to appreciate the fact that we do have a little bit of leeway now. So Mercury is direct, but as I said, and you'll see throughout the course of this video, Mercury doesn't come off of the 8th degree this weekend. So it's sort of like, I think it's interesting with astrology. So many astrologers or people that study astrology, it's like the moment that a planet goes like direct, they feel like the energy is like completely online. It's like, no, it takes time for the planet to boot back up. It's not just going to just click right on. It takes time for it to, it's like when you turn off your computer. You can't just turn off your computer, right? And then turn it back on and expect it to immediately go back to whatever web page. Oops. Can't expect it to immediately go back to whatever web page it was on. I need to make sure that my audio is still going. Okay, it is. All right, good deal. Just wanted to make sure. But yeah, you can't just turn off your computer, right? Like I say, if I were to turn off my computer right now, I can't expect like turn it off and then turn it right back on and have it pull this up in like 5 seconds. Like that's what this Mercury direct this weekend is going to, that is going to be the pull of this Mercury direct, is having people think that just because Mercury is direct, that you can just immediately turn things back on to the way that things were before, or turn it back on to and just have whatever planets you have up appear on screen. That's not the way it works, It's not the way it works. So it has to buffer. So it has to take time. So it has to do like that background music, that dun, what I'm talking about? You got to still put in your password and wait for the desktop and the apps to load. And then you're able to get back to what you were doing. But don't jump the gun and don't be like, that's the thing. People are going to be turning on the computer metaphorically this weekend, right? With Mercury now direct. And people are going to get frustrated because it's not moving very fast and they have to wait. And maybe the computer, more than likely, the computer is installing updates as well. So you got to wait even longer before you can get back to the internet, get back to whatever you were doing. So you can spend this weekend being like, It's not moving fast enough. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna just yeet the whole computer. Like, this is not a time to just yeet whatever plan or grand plan, I guess, that you might have, or whatever you recalibrated. This is not the time to just yeet it. And also, like I said, plan to have your plans change. Like, whatever you recalibrated, that is the base, right? It's not the end product. That is the base. That is the jumping point. That is the launch pad, right? You're not going to have the full picture. Why? Because that new moon was stamped with 6 planets retrograde plus a Chiron. And even now, we still have Uranus, Jupiter, Chiron, Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto all in retrograde. So it's not like we're going to be able to just take massive leaps forward. But the positive is that now we do have Venus, Mercury, and Mars, all the personal planets now moving forward. So, and of course, we have Mars moving the fastest, but that's positive, right? So there's definitely some positive energy where we definitely can feel like we can start to move things forward, start to feel more confident when it comes to these areas in our life, But like I said, this is still a time where we still have like a bit of a parachute. And that's kind of what I see this as right now. I see this part of the zodiac as a runner, and I see this part of the zodiac as like a parachute, if you will. And that's why the thumbnail is the way that it is for this weekend horoscope, because it's like we're all running on the track or something like that. And we have like a parachute, and that parachute is meant for resistance training. So when you're running and you have this parachute, it's going to cause some resistance. You're not going to be able to run as fast. Interesting enough, the wind that is being created is created by, of course, like the force of you running, and of course air getting caught in it. So it's like, it's interesting. Sometimes we feel like there's always something else outside of us that's holding us back. But I want to paint with this forecast, and like I said, the thumbnail, it's like the resistance that we feel when we're running towards a goal is caused by us simply running towards that goal. And this is why we have to overcome the doubts and the fears that we have in our mind. We have to overcome the impurities that we may feel in our mind. We have to overcome the fear of opening our heart to new possibilities, new relationships, right? Because that resistance is ultimately caused by us running, right? Because if we were to just walk, then you would just be dragging the parachute on the ground, right? Hopefully I'm painting this picture well for you guys. And you'll get to your destination eventually, right? But if you seek to run towards your destination, there's going to be a little bit of a resistance. And the good thing is that once all the planets are direct, that's when we get that burst of energy. And really, that burst of energy is kind of psychological, right? Because that resistance training was strengthening you, was building you up to where when you take the parachute off, it feels like you could run that much faster. And you can, but it's also, I'm trying to like it's a way of strengthening yourself, right? By using your own energy, if you will, by using your own results and your own effort. So it's like, that's why it sometimes can feel like a struggle whenever you're trying to accomplish something. And that's why there's the resistance there. The resistance isn't coming from forward, right? If you're running, it's coming from behind with that parachute, right? And that's the thing about it. So like, if you really want that speed boost, once all the planets come forward, which would be later next year, like in February or so, well, later next year, but it'll be next year in February. If you want that boost of energy, right? If you want that nice little jump, whatever like that, so you can get ahead in life, then you embrace the parachute. It's still gonna be a little crazy and stuff, but it's like, that's the thing. So it's kind of like when Rock Lee from Naruto took off his ankle weights, right? He was already strong before, but he trained with these ankle weights. And when he took them off, some of the other ninjas, they were like, okay, yeah, taking off these ankle weights ain't gonna do shit. He drops the ankle weights and it causes a damn near explosion. And everyone's like, what the fuck? You were fighting with those heavy ass ankle weights? They don't look that heavy. They don't look that heavy. But when Rock Lee took them off and dropped them, after his mentor told him, like, go ahead and take them off, Rock Lee. You are ready. Let's show them what you've been training for. Let's show them what you're really about. All right? And everyone's like, they're scoping at you because they're like, oh, wait, no, he ain't going to do shit. She ain't going to do shit. They ain't going to do shit. Watch. We're coming into that period, guys. I'm telling you, like, the Libra season, Scorpio season, it's about to be fun. It's about to be crazy. You're about to see some crazy ass stories, weird political power grabs, weird, like, you're gonna see like just weird ass shit. South Node and Libra type stuff. I would not be surprised if the reincarnation. I would not be surprised if the reincarnation of the founding fathers plays some sort of big role in the world in the next month or so, especially with eclipses coming too. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if someone came on and was like, yeah, so I am the reincarnation of Thomas Jefferson. Or, a descendant of these people may come up and play some sort of big role. And a role that you'll probably have one that's going to flip teams, and you're going to probably have one that stays on the team that they were on back when America was founded. The reason why I'm saying this is because Pluto is very close to the degree that America's Pluto is at. So there's a cycle's coming back around. It's retrograde, right? So time skip, flashback kind of energy, right? Would not be surprised if an ancestor of one of the founding fathers, if there's like some beef between like ancestors or like between like current relatives of those founding fathers, would not be surprised if some beef comes up sometime in the next 30 days or so. Would not be surprised. But yeah, so we have that moon, which is going to conjunct Mars here at 13 degrees here. And this is a very important conjunction. This Mars, of course, does not like to be in Libra. Much rather be at its home in Aries. And the moon in Libra is not a bad placement either. But the moon conjunct Mars in Libra. You remember how some of like these weird political power grabs where they try to use like emotion? This is the weird thing too, because it's the weekend. Whatever stories come out today, they're going to try and sweep them under the rug real fast. You know what I'm saying? Because usually the weekend is where the news goes to die, right? But things happen on the weekend too. Why is it that it seems like a lot of the news will happen like Monday through Friday, and then we get to the weekend and everyone just forgets about shit? Now, this is 13 degrees, so 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 is the number of Uranus, and they happen to be in the decan of Libra, ruled by Uranus, and Uranus happens to be at 22 degrees in Taurus, so we have a harmonic of 4 energy, which is very Uranian. It's going to be very out there, right? Very out there. So be prepared for emotions to kind of come from way out there, with the Mars here that wants to try and find some sort of balance and act in a way. I would say, Saturday, 4:09, there's going to be some sort of action that happens. I don't know if it's going to necessarily be communicated to the public yet, but there's going to be something that happens in the middle of the day on Saturday that will absolutely be used against you as a means to gaslight you. Something that's going to pull on your emotions, pull on your heartstrings in many ways. Something that's going to pull on that aspect. It's going to want to make you feel a certain type of way. And with the Mars here too, is just going to amplify this shit. And they're going to use this as a means of telling you how you should feel, how you should act, where you belong, what you belong doing. With the South Node here too, I would not be surprised if something pops off Saturday. Something pops off, and it's going to definitely be used as a means to gaslight people into having to feel like they have to act a certain way and be a certain way to bring balance and harmony to the world and stuff. Be very careful. It's going around 4:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It doesn't have to happen exactly at this moment. I'm just saying that it could happen on this day. Something's going to happen. Some event's going to spark off. And it may be subtle at first, but I honestly don't think it's going to be that subtle. The main reason why I don't think it's going to be that subtle is because, at least here in Smyrna, Georgia, you can see it's at the top of the chart, right? 409. They'll be at the top of the chart, and the South Node's up here, and the Sun's up here too. So it's going to be very much seen and put out there. Ninth house too. So belief. Believe this thing, believe this narrative that we're about to push on you. Believe it, believe it, believe it. How could you not believe it? Don't you want peace and harmony? Oh my gosh, you should feel this way about this. Why don't you do something about it too? Just be very careful. Just be very careful, okay? All right. Something weird's going to happen. All right. And you have to be able to look at this event with discernment and think critically, because they're going to be like, they're going to not want you to think critically. So, going into Sunday, we have Sun at 24 degrees of Virgo, right? So it's getting ever so closer to that opposition with Neptune. We do have Venus, of course, here in square to Jupiter. Now, this is going to be happening pretty much around midnight here on the East Coast. So still nighttime on the West Coast. And this is definitely, like I said, this is the third pass of this square. So Venus is square Jupiter when they were both direct. And then, of course, Venus was retrograde and Jupiter was direct. And now Jupiter is retrograde and Venus is direct. So this is the third pass. And we don't normally see this. This is not something that happens very often. And we probably won't see this again for a while. I have to actually do the calculations and stuff and find it. But we probably won't see this again for a while. So remember what I was saying too. Venus is with Juno, which is the wife of Jupiter. Jupiter much rather be with his wife right now. But he's with Uranus. You know what I'm saying? He's with Kronos. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So this weird motherfucker that ate his kids and shit. So yeah, that's where Jupiter is, right? So this square that you're gonna feel, like I said, it's gonna be like midnight, but we're gonna feel it the whole weekend still. So, 1 + 5 is 6, which comes down to, that being the Venusian energy, right? And the sun is also at 24 degrees of Virgo. So 2 + 4 is 6. So it's gonna be pretty Venusian. It's gonna be Sunday is gonna be more Venusian. Whereas you can see that the day before, it's more mercurial. 2 + 3 is 5. More of a mercurial day. So we go from a mercurial Saturday to a more Venusian Sunday. So you go from a day where we're probably going to all get gaslighted to a day where now we just want to feel better. and appreciate the pleasures in life, right? But there's the square to Jupiter. Is it rooted in value? Is it rooted in, you know, something that's going to grow? Or are you simply planting seeds in concrete? Not that they can't grow, but why would you put unnecessary struggle like that on yourself? Not like and that's the thing. When you're running with a parachute, I mean, you're doing it so you can become faster and stronger, right? But if you're unnecessarily sprinkling seeds on the concrete when you have a beautiful field right next to you, oh, but I don't want to get dirty. The concrete is not. The concrete isn't dirty. I don't want to get dirty. I don't want to get dirt in my nails and stuff. I don't want to do that. I'd rather just spread them here. I mean, that flower's growing in the concrete. It's not ideal. And sure, yeah, there are situations where there's not every situation is going to be ideal, but I mean, if you have a open field next to you, available to you, why not utilize it? Why not utilize it? So we're going to see this square happen, and Venus is definitely going to want to just hang out with Juno and stuff. They're going to want to go to the club on a Sunday. And Jupiter's going to be like, please don't take Juno to like any weird crazy places, Venus. Please don't do that. I know you like to have fun. I know you're coming forward and stuff like that. And you're trying to. It's funny too. Like when the sun comes into Libra and then Venus is dispositing the sun, because that's going to happen. I think Venus is literally just trying to feel like, well, I only have like 5 to 6 days of summer left, and I was retrograde for most of it, so please let me have my moment. And I think there's an element where we all kind of feel like that. It's like, well, let me have my fun, let me have my moment, let me have the last little bits of this hot girl summer before it's done. And I think, it's not that we can't have fun or have joy and stuff like that in our life. So I think, yeah, go out and do fun things, hang out with family and friends, do fun things. Just don't go into weird ass situations and sprinkle seeds in places that aren't going to actually produce anything. You know what I'm saying? It's not a time to be going just going crazy at the club and and drinking a shit ton and then getting caught up in a weird situations. It's not about that. It's not about that. So, do people still go to the club? I mean, I know people do, but I feel like that. Like, do people still go to the club? I guess people do. I haven't been to the club in years, so it's been a while since I've gone to the club. Maybe you go to like a concert. You know what I'm saying? It could be a good weekend for that. Going to like a concert of like a favorite artist of yours, something like that. Because this Sunday is going to be a little bit more on the Venusian end. First of all, it's Sunday, so it's the sun, and then the sun is at 2-4, which is 6. So it's very Venusian. So yeah, there's definitely an element where you're going to want to have fun, kind of break out, be creative, express your joy, express your creativity. Absolutely. If you can do that with a person, like a partner, a friend, some family, that's awesome. Just, it's going to sound weird, but this is kind of the weekend of good, clean fun. You don't want to do like anything like way out there, super edgy and stuff. And we're going to want to do things super edgy because the moon is on Mars with the South Node. So it's like there's going to be this element where we kind of want to be edgy, right? Now we also, of course, are going to see that moon oppose Chiron this weekend at 18 degrees. So even more so, 1 + 8 is 9, which is the number, in numerology, it's Aries, that's Martian energy. And oh, look, at this time, Chiron is on the top of the chart. It's the most seen. So somebody, based off of what happens on Saturday, is going to probably respond emotionally to this and put it out there because this is still in the decan ruled by Uranus, which is internet. So whatever happens on Saturday, some influencer or popular person is going to put out their opinion on it, and it's going to be seen. But what it is that they're going to put their Chiron out there. So they're going to actually like expose themselves, probably cry or something like that, or probably just have like a mental breakdown, stuff like that, and like put all their wounds out there, right? Which is going to, and because they're an influencer, it's going to cause even more energy to get wrapped up in this, and could potentially sway people to adopting certain ideologies or whatever comes up, whatever theme comes up and stuff like that. They're going to put it out there, and because they have influence and pull, they're going to pull people into this Chiron world and have you think that it's okay to just let your wounds fester on camera. I think it's so, like, I talk about anxiety and stuff like that in my experiences with that. So I'm very open about my mental health and my mental health journey, and I will continue to be open about it. But what you won't see is me come on here and have like a total mental breakdown and have like an anxiety and panic attack on camera, unless it somehow happens like in the middle of a video. You won't ever see me do that. So I'm not gonna put that energy out there and let it fester. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about my legitimate struggles with it and how I'm overcoming it, but I'm not going to just come on here and just like film like a panic attack. I've thought about it too. I've thought about coming on here and filming like me in like the middle of like an anxiety or panic attack, but I'm not gonna do that. I might come on here and be like, I just had anxiety, but I'll do it after I calm down. So I'm just not gonna blast that out to you guys either. Oh, but it's authentic, and I'm like, yeah, but we can still. That's the thing about it. You can still filter. You can still have discernment. You don't have to show every little thing. That doesn't mean that you're inauthentic. So it's like, be careful. Looks at something's gonna, some type of influencer kind of energy, I feel, because this is Libra too, right? So it's going to put their wounds out on display. So come the end of the day, we're going to see that moon. Middle of the day, we're going to see that moon conjunct the south node, right? So 25 degrees, of course, opposed the north node. We'll see this. And this might be kind of like the moment where it says that this whole weekend is kind of interesting. I really feel like it's going to be an oddly news. Like, there's going to be a lot of news that comes out with this weekend. People jumping the gun, people putting their wounds out on display, freaking relatives of the forefathers or ancestors of the not ancestors, but like descendants. That's what I meant. Yeah, descendants of the forefathers getting into debates and shit. Maybe they don't even know it, but maybe they become aware of it. But yeah, this moon on the south node in Libra, 2 + 5 is 7. So this comes down to the Neptunian kind of energy, right? So we have a Venusian day, and then we get a little bit of this injection of the Neptunian with it coming on to the south node, opposing the north node. This is definitely going to be one of these moments where, are you going to like kind of cave and just outsource, who you are in many ways, just to appease and bring balance and peace? You know what I'm saying? This would be a great weekend where it's like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it, right? But then I feel like I'm suppressing my speech and I'm being authentic. It's like, well, no, I'm telling you, this is not the weekend to do that. But some people are going to still do it. It might be a petty weekend. Whenever the moon goes into Libra, it's very petty, right? It's hashtag petty games, And then Scorpio is about to take like petty to a whole nother level when the moon comes into Scorpio. Whew. But this is literally one of those weekends where it's like, look, you may have your opinions and thoughts, whatever like that, but if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it. Just I'm gonna be a bit of a passive, kind of avoid that conflict, because I don't really see anything good coming out of it. You'll probably just cause unnecessary drama and stuff, right? So if there are disagreements, weird things, weird conversations, blow-ups potentially, just do your best to just chill out. Kind of filter things through before you speak this weekend, right? And the meditation for today was let's see, yes, I had it right here. Where is it? Only by starting where you are can you ever get anywhere. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is not the weekend to try and just overly push the envelope, to try and go and make massive changes in your life just because you feel like you have like that tiny little 18 minutes that Mercury will give you. I mean, by the end of the day on Sunday, it'll be like what, 18:25. Yeah, so you get 25 minutes. So just because you get these 25 minutes, if you will, don't feel like you have to go and change everything right now. The moon's going to also square Pluto this weekend too, right before it hits the 27th degree. So we get an opportunity to really feel this whole narrative of the weekend out, right? This whole narrative, this whole story of the weekend out. We get a chance to like really feel it out before Pluto hits 27 degrees. And more than likely make a decision based off of what we felt over this weekend on how to move forward, right? 8, Saturn, 2, the moon, right? But yeah, you only get 25 minutes. That's as far as Mercury goes. So Mercury is still moving slow. So that's why if you try and like, it's like overthinking, but like nothing's actually like firing. It's like nothing's actually doing anything, right? That's what's gonna feel like. Like the car is in park, but you're hitting the gas. You're gonna fucking blow your engine out if you do that, right? Or it's like expecting to go 70 miles an hour in gear 1, and then getting pissed off at the car that's just not going 70 miles an hour in gear 1, and then yeeting the whole car off a cliff. Don't do that. Don't yeet things off because it's not working as fast as you want it to work. Be okay with where you are and utilize the tools that you already have and the resources that you have, the connections that you have made that you know are going to help get you to the next level and uplift you. Right? Your vibe attracts your tribe. You can only really get anywhere. Yeah, you have to start where you are in order to get somewhere. They're gonna have you focused on the past. They're gonna have you focused on your wounding. They're gonna have you focused on all these other things from the past. But you are here right now. That's why if you constantly are just in the past and you're studying from the past, by the time you get to the now, you're going to feel behind. You're not actually going to have any actual progress. It's just the illusion of progress. So let's get into the. Golly, that's the third time I've dropped my mic. I need a better mic. But eventually I'll get there, right? You got to start with where I'm at, right? You got to start with where you are at. Ideally, I would love to have a new, webcam, a new camera, a new mic and stuff. I do have a new computer, which is nice. But ideally, I would like to have like newer things. But I got to start with where I'm at because I can make this work out. And I've made this work on less too. I made this work on less. So that's the thing. Kind of treat that. Kind of like look at it this week. It's like you have made it work on less. So be appreciative for what you have because you have more than what you had back then. So take advantage of that moment, appreciate it, express that joy and that creativity. Try not to be like ambitious and overzealous this weekend. Think for yourself. Don't allow this spell to go down on you because it's going to be some sort of spell that's performed on people this weekend, right? Don't fall for the spell. Just see it as simple entertainment. Or maybe not, because entertainment comes, it enters you, and then it detains you from the inside. So just look at it and just be like, oh, okay, that happened. Don't get too emotionally invested in it. So, especially when it comes to the media and the external world and stuff like that, don't get too emotionally invested into whatever news stories and whatever is put out. Whatever blows up and gets all the attention. Oof, don't get too emotionally invested in that this week. It's a trap. Trust me, it's a trap. Oh! See, when the cards like fly all over the place, this I like this deck, but it is a little harder to shuffle. I will say that. So that's okay. All right, let's see what we got. We have the Queen of Wands. You have the Queen of Wands in reverse. And that's going to be followed by the Hermit. Yeah. So the Queen of Wands in reverse. When the Queen of Wands is in reverse, she takes very rash actions based off of her emotion, and she will plunge her country into war, into unnecessary conflict and battle, because she's like emotionally wrapped up in something, because she got triggered. So don't do that. Don't just cause unnecessary conflict and wars this weekend. Acknowledge your emotions and stuff like that, but allow them to pass. Emotions are it's water, so it's meant to pass, meant to move on. This is why even you go from cardinal water like Cancer, and then you go to fixed water Scorpio, which is like a glacier, it's ice, but then it still goes back to Pisces, which is mutable water, which is water, right? So emotions, yeah, there are moments where they can ice over, but they will still melt. They will still melt, right? So the reason why the Hermit's coming up here is because you have to be able to think for yourself and not just follow the crowd. Be your own light. Be your own arc. You know? Be your own lantern. Right? I'm going to draw one more card. Yeah, well, we do have the Death card in reverse. Yeah, so there's definitely going to be some fear-mongering that's going on this weekend and stuff. But it is reversed, so this is something that has already passed. It's almost like the Queen of Wands wants to revive whatever it is that died, if you will, right? So there's going to be a desire, I guess, by some people to revive things that have already passed, that have already deceased, that have already transformed, right? So this is the time where you need to go within this weekend and think for yourself and be your own light and follow your own path and stuff. So this is not a time to be trying to revive Frankenstein. It's not a time to be trying to, revive things that have passed or transformed. So still have all these planets in retrograde. You know what I mean? Unless, you're coming at it from a very fresh perspective and you're not just like throwing, like, say, if you want to revive a relationship this weekend, let's just say, for example, right? Because I'm saying, like, you don't want to revive things that have died, right? Say you have a bad relationship with, like, your mom and your dad, right? And, you've been thinking about it and you want to revive it, right? The way to revive it is to not throw their shit in their face. That's not the way to revive it. The way to revive it is to simply just, go out to lunch, talk about what's going on in their daily life. You kind of almost want to be a little surface level, Just don't throw shit, Don't throw shit in people's faces this weekend. It's not the weekend for that. Trust me, this is not the weekend for that. So it's going to be a little delicate because if I say by this particular example, how exactly do you navigate that? How exactly do you move forward? Like, remember, Mercury is only giving us about 25 minutes, so it's not like we don't have like the full picture right now. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say it's almost best to just kind of let bygones be bygones and just kind of do your thing, whatever like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see people that maybe you are at odds with or disagree with, if they like maybe send them like a message. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you just send them a message like, hey, I hope you have a good weekend. Like, that's positive, right? If they respond by throwing shit in your face, don't throw it back at them. Just wipe your face off and just continue about your day. But that's what this kind of weekend is. It's like you don't have to fix anything right now. You don't have to fix the whole situation right now. But you can just do that little bit, and that little bit will go a long way. You don't have to do a whole lot for a little bit. Do a little bit for a whole lot. Does that make sense? Right? Instead of trying to go out and fix everything for a small yield, just do like a small little action, a small little token of appreciation for a whole lot. Now, it won't look like a whole lot initially, of course, but that's where the patience comes in. We have the Parrot. Let sunshine revitalize your soul and color transform your world. I think this is just about being authentically you, getting to that joyous expression of who you are. Get out into the sun this weekend if you can. If it's not out, still get outside because the sun is still shining through those clouds and you're still getting that energy. This will be a great weekend to be artistic, to maybe go painting, to draw, to do something, right? Maybe go dance or whatever like that. But just do something fun this weekend. Don't do anything like super crazy and shit. Don't get yourself into weird ass situations. But yeah, this will be a good weekend to just kind of like. There's going to be some type of spell that is going to be performed on humanity, especially here in America. There's going to be some type of spell that's going to be performed. Don't get wrapped up in that. Focus on what you are building. Focus on your creativity. Focus on your spiritual mission and what you came here to do. Focus on that this weekend. That is going to be. Don't just take whatever happens with the biggest fucking grain of salt, right? Don't believe it. Don't trust it. Focus on your path. Focus on just being that light, if you will. Let's say, let sunshine revitalize your soul. Be that sunshine. Be that lantern, right? Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, that's what I got for you guys for this weekend astrology forecast. I hope that you all enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope it's full of joy and creativity and love and camaraderie. And, I hope that that small step that you take forward this weekend has huge yields for you in the future. And I pray and trust that you have the patience to allow that to come in, that yield to come in naturally, and to just appreciate what you have right now. So I love you all so much. Y'all take care. Stay blessed. I will see you guys on the next astrology forecast on Monday. And yeah, I'll see y'all later. Peace. Have a wonderful weekend, y'all.